shaykhoi Zoi da hamas gevedim me yaken irdumim Oi vekure vayumim asher ben yishaykhoi Zoi da hamas gevedim me yaken irdumim Oi vekure vayumim asher ben yishaykhoi Libi 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 subri Oi ramneni leve kevel khoi Libi libi
Hello everyone, this is the second in the series of the amount of Kaddish at Minyan. Is it super or is it superfluous? And today I'd like to deal with the Kaddish after Aleinu, because we say Aleinu at the end of davening, as the Ramah says, not only in the morning, but at Mincha and at Ma'ariv. So it definitely will dictate to us a good example if that Kaddish is necessary or not. Today I'm going to present 2 points of view, and God willing next time, a counterpoint of view. So, as far back as the Maharil, after that famous Aleinu, the Maharil, we're talking about 1360 to 1427 Germany, comes along and says, Umashe katafta, what you wrote, b'makom she'en yatom, im yitpatel Kaddish yatom, that if there's no Avel, there's no reason to say Kaddish after Aleinu, chalila v'chas, absolutely not, ela le'olam, forever, achar hadrashot v'hapsukim, chayavin lahakadish. Bottom line, since in Aleinu there are psukim, after you say psukim, you must say Kaddish. The Shibbolei Haleket explains, according to the Geonim, Kol teva va'ot shebatorah she'en shema mefurash yotze mihen ma she'en anu yodim. We have no idea the power of each pasuk, not only in the Torah, but in the Tanakh. And therefore, Nahagu Kaddish, we say Kaddish after Psukim. From this perspective, the Kaddish after Aleinu is obligatory. And indeed, his Talmud of a Talmud, the Agor's father, Reb Yaakov, learned by the Maharil, and now we're talking about his son, the Agor, says, Afal pisha ein avel beveit hakneset, ein levatlo, me'achar shu nitkan lachar Psukim. So, since there's Psukim in Aleinu, we must say Kaddish, and ultimately, this is the way the Ramah paskins. In a very clear-cut way, the Ramah, in the Code of Jewish Law, says, Omrim Kaddish yatom achar Aleinu, ve'afilu ein yatom beveit hakneset, yomar oto mishein lo avaim. You have to say that Kaddish, and if there's no one there saying Kaddish for the year, no Yartzeit, get someone who once had a year of Avelus to say the Kaddish. And if there's no one like that, says the Ramah, then if someone gets permission from his parents, he should say that Kaddish. Bottom line is that Kaddish is obligatory because of the psukim in Aleinu. And indeed, this point of view could be summed up as follows. You have to say the Kaddish after Aleinu. If there's a yatom, as the Mishnah Bura says, you give it to someone that's saying Kaddish. But if there isn't a yatom, you have to make sure someone else should say it. Best, someone that once said Kaddish, namely lost a father or mother, and if not, even someone that didn't lose a father or mother, thank God, but his parents give him permission. However, there's another point of view. And that point of view is that this is not obligatory, but rather a minhag. Indeed, the Maharil, not in his responsum, but in the minhagim that people recorded. When he came to Tisha B'Av night, he writes sort of matter-of-factly, on Tisha B'Av night after Ma'ariv, Kaddish yatom b'makom shenagur achar Aleinu. You say the Kaddish in places that they have the minhag to say it. Already you understand that there are places that don't have the minhag to say it. Well, comes along the Levush, and indeed, the same Levush that explained why you have to say the Kaddish after Aleinu, because it has psukim, says that, I must say, with due respect to Va'arenu Nirali, Afal Pi Shamru Aleinu Ba'asara V'yatzu Miktzatan and Omrim Kaddish yatom. You want a litmus test to know if that Kaddish is obligatory? Here is the litmus test. When you start the Chazarat Hashas with 10 people, and then one person leaves, you can finish the whole Chazarat Hashas as if there's 10 people. So if you started a certain part of davening with a minyan, you can end it as if there's a minyan there, even though there isn't. Well, what happens in Aleinu? Says the Levush, it's very clear cut. If you started Aleinu with 10 people, and there isn't 10 people at the end of Aleinu, you do not, I repeat, do not say the Kaddish afterwards. That's a good proof that Kaddish cannot be mi'ikar hadin. It cannot be obligatory, but rather, if people are there, 10 people, yes, and if not, not. Bottom line is, he says, Aleinu lav tikun chachamim ulamar acharav Kaddish. After Aleinu, there's no takana to say Kaddish. Ela min hagu lomro mishum Kaddish yatom shacharav. It's only a minhag to say it, and therefore, if you don't have 10 people, you don't say it. And this is probably the point of view of the Aruch HaShulchan. When he comes along and says that we say Kaddish after Aleinu, he says not because there's psukim, but rather b'pnei yatumim shelo yochlu litpalel lifnei ha'amud. It's only for those that cannot be chazan, so they gave them a way to do something for their father or mother, and that is to say Kaddish. The Ramah is clear-cut when he says in Hilchot Avelot, better to be chazan than to say Kaddish. And therefore, since there's certain people that cannot be chazan, either they're too young, under bar mitzvah, or they just cannot chazan, from this perspective, that's what that Kaddish is there for. Nothing to do with Ikar Hadin. It's sort of a benefit for people that cannot lead davening. Therefore, he says, the only reason that you say a Kaddish after Shir Shel Yom is not because you said psukim, but rather because there's so many that need to say Kaddish. Once upon a time, there was only one person that said Kaddish per minyan. So you gave one person the Aleinu Kaddish, and you gave another person the Shir Shel Yom Kaddish. And the Agor also says that there is a point of view that he personally doesn't agree with. Then יקרא קדיש יתום בשביל הקטנים שאינם יכולים להתפלל בציבור, לא יכולים לומר קדיש זה, כי נתקן בשביל המתים, ולכן הקטנים יכולים לאומרו, כי איננו חובה כשאר הקדישות של התפילה. Indeed, he brings this point of view and says that this Kaddish is only for those that cannot daven, namely under bar mitzvah people. They want to do something in honor of their father or their mother. We gave them this Kaddish, not because of psukim, but rather because it's a benefit that we put in for those people. And the Maharil indeed says there is a point of view. This is only a custom. It is not mi'ikar hadin. So, as you can hear today, we brought 2 points of view. One of the Ramah that says that is absolutely obligatory to say Kaddish after Aleinu because you have psukim in there. And the other point of view says, no, it's actually only in there for people that should have led davening, can't, either they're too young or they don't know how to chazan, so we put in that Kaddish for them. So what do we care? At the end of the day, the Kaddish is in there, it's in the siddur. The answer is, the nafkamina is clear. Let's say you don't have someone that's obligated in saying Kaddish in that minyan. He's not in his year in Avelus. He is not a Yartzeit. According to the Ramah, in that point of view, you must say that Kaddish because you said psukim and Aleinu. But according to the other point of view, you could skip it. There's no Yatomim. Great. There's no reason to say that Kaddish.
Some